Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 102 today for the Mexican Grand Prix in Season 6. And this is the third last race of the season, so it's all to play for, and it is still so super tight following last episode, which, by the way, if you did miss it, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one at the Japanese Grand Prix. Giovinazzi not quite getting the win, but he did get a very solid, lofty podium, whilst myself and Russell, generally speaking as a team, struggled. You know, we had to do a very audacious two-stop just to really get some performance out of the car and actually beat Russell on track to get a few more points on him across the garage. And it was Esteban Ocon that reigned supreme, and with that, he has won 3 races, Russell's won 3, myself and Giovinazzi, only 2 race wins to our name. So Ocon's actually come out of nowhere to be a bit of a dark horse and maybe enter the Drivers' World Championship fight late on. He's still mathematically in there, but he is a larger gap away from us three. You know, us three, myself, Gio, and Russell, we've kind of been joined to the hip every single race. We just can't seem to get enough of each other. We keep meeting each other on circuit, and, you know, that consistency, even with the topsy-turvy nature of this season, has always been there, as you can see clearly by this, you know, by the graph, you know, by the results that have gone by. Mexico is always quite an exciting one as of late on the F1 game, late on into the season, you know, because it's a track on the game that provides so much racing, so many swaps left, right, and centre on that long main straight, and so it means on the game for, you know, in the crunch time period, a very exciting race to come to. And I think we should be in good stead. You know, it's been a good track for the FOM My Team car, and, you know, we've gone well, I think. You know, we've had some very chaotic races, but we've always kind of come through because you can race very well, and you can make those overtakes in a straight line. Even, you know, after turn 1, there's plenty of opportunities, even in the middle sector. But of course, first and foremost, before we talk about the race, we need to get through Saturday and get through this session. So Q1, a formality, but we were a little bit lacking on pace, but I'm sure we'll speed up. But both Williams cars out, and Max Verstappen made it through with a very decent lap time in the Haas there. So, you know, there definitely has been some improvements with Haas. I can see, we saw that at Singapore, obviously, so there maybe is method to the madness of them signing and splashing the cash on Verstappen, at least. Maybe not for Hamilton's sake in the F1 game now with the series, of course. Been many seasons since Hamilton dropped in terms of the in-game focus. But yeah, very surprising there. And then in terms of the pecking order in Q1, it's early days, but AlphaTauri looking strong, and Mercedes as well. Schumacher and Tsunoda as well, and the McLaren Mercedes ahead of Russell. But now let's see into the second part of qualifying. This is where we really start to see the true pecking order. You know, we've seen so many times that we've been quite slow in Q1, and then we speed up as the track rubbers in. We get used to the car, the circuit, coming back into a new season. And you can see what I mean there, because now myself and Russell, 1 and 2, so we've got the pace, the car's got the pace, but on the in-lap, we get hit by Lance Stroll. I don't know what he was doing in his Red Bull Porsche that he's bought, and, well, it's just very peculiar. We're just taking a normal kind of line, open up the door a little bit, but it's an in-lap. Both of us are an in-lap, so Lance Stroll causing a bit of controversy in qualifying. We're not going to get any kind of penalty or anything like that. I don't know if he did, but he's through into the top 10 shooter as well, but just a bit of a random jeopardy in the second part of qualifying. But both myself and Russell are through. Giovinazzi is through, no surprise there, but Lundgaard again struggling to match his new Italian teammate for the remainder of this year. And like I alluded to last episode, where it was very clear the big gulf between those two drivers, just showing what an amazing season Giovinazzi is having this year to be in the championship fight. But yeah, the two Red Bulls look a lot stronger here than they maybe did in a couple of last races. Again, Ocon flying the flag for Ferrari. P2 splitted, he actually split myself and Russell in the end of it, whereas his teammate was knocked out in P11. So again, you know, like Lotus Renault, Ferrari, bit of a difference there. You know, Carlos Sainz the more senior man, but Ocon is becoming the team leader. It's time now, though, for the top 10 shooter, our first flying lap in Q3, and we're making a massive mistake, and it's a howler in the second sector as the car just unsettled on the curb as I planted the power, well, not even planted, just kind of tapped the throttle to try and get a bit of rotation round the corner, and the rear end stepped basically, tried to catch it, but we're going such high speed, and the wall was such close proximity that the front wing is off, trying to get out of the way of other people on their flyers and being as courteous as possible. But then Russell behind us on track. He's already set his lap time there, and he's about to catch us without a front wing. So little bit frustrating and embarrassing in this moment in time in this first part of Q3. But we're going to come back in, go back out, put that behind us, reset and go again. But that's such an easy mistake though. We've seen that quite a few times, especially literally in the last 2 seasons, in season 5 and 4 of the My Team career mode. In the race more so, but I guess it's very much, you know, doable in qualifying, where that curb, kind of almost like, you know, tracks like Abu Dhabi, where there's certain curbs where you just hit it and you just can't be on it and accelerate. So you either get on it and just let off the throttle, or you just have to avoid it like the plague, and then you can actually get on the power when you would kind of naturally want to. And that's exactly what we do then. And the second flyer lifting off a tiny bit and letting the car roll through and having the curb on the middle of the car basically to get us through to eventually put the car up onto the second row of the grid. Can't quite get a pole position. That's going to go to George Russell. So that's a little frustrating, you know, to lose it out to him to the pole position, because the car's clearly there. But, you know, Lando Norris doing a fabulous job for McLaren. You know, McLaren, you know, the reigning champions, they've been very slow most of this season, you know, very much weakened by what we did in pre-season to them as a team by getting their main driver, getting their main sponsor. But, you know, as of late, Lando's been putting in some quiet, very decent results. So that's another big one for him then on the front row. We're on the same row as Leclerc. Giovinazzi P6, but, you know, you can't even say he's that slow, because the whole, you know, the whole top 10, mega close. I mean, especially where Gio is, you know, with Drogovic, Ocon, and then even where Leclerc and myself ended up, you know, one mistake, one tiny lock-up, and you're going to be down those positions. So it's still so tight and all to play for, and that's going to be great for the race, because hopefully there'll be loads of battles on that main straight, and it's going to be a good one. From the second row, you got to say the podium is, you know, in with a chance.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. George Russell did very well in qualifying yesterday and will start today's race from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have the owner driver, Leclerc, Esteban Ocon and Giovinazzi, Drogovic, Stroll, Gasly and Valtteri Bottas, Sainz, Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Lundgaard, Verstappen, Aitken, Marcus Armstrong and Guan Yu Zhou, Matsushita, Islet, Hamilton and Daniel Ticktum. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Tyre wear and strategy for sure is going to be a big factor around Mexico. The undercut is actually ridiculous in terms of we've gained like a couple of seconds sometimes, you know, if you stay out for 2 more laps than you should on these tyres, because, I mean, you can see that the soft compound really doesn't even go that long. Both options involve a 2-stop, and both of them actually involve the soft and the medium tyre. The hard tyre is not even a factor here by the game itself, so I think we'll be avoiding the white compound, and I think personally we'll go with the bottom strategy. I think from seasons gone by, for me personally, the medium tyre has been more consistent for me. The AI sometimes like to go on 2 sets of softs, but I just don't think we personally have the tyre wear or the management on the rear end to be able to do that ourselves. But from the second row, as I said, we've got a very good chance of a podium, maybe even the win if we get a good start here as we go to 5 red lights to the Mexican Grand Prix. 3 races left to go, and we're underway, and it's a good good start for us. Russell a bit slow off the line. It's a very decent one also for Lando Norris in the McLaren. We're barreling down to turn 1. It's such a long straight. So many people behind us getting a slipstream. We've got the AlphaTauri on the outside. We've pinned it through between the middle of Leclerc and Norris. Norris falls away actually as we've got Drogovic getting up there. Where's he come from? The Red Bull is up into P3. What an electric start from the young Brazilian to get into third place. Russell held his own for P1. Kind of annoying we couldn't do anything on him. But Lewis Hamilton is out early doors in the Haas. And that is going to be a virtual safety car that is out. Hamilton confirmed. And now it switches to a full core safety car. So already there is a bit of jeopardy here in the race. But that was quite a chaotic start, you know. It looked quite calm maybe from my onboard. But there was so much going on behind me with cars swapping. And this man came out on top. Drogovic, what a few sequence of corners for him to get up into P3. Ocon P4, Leclerc 5. Lando went all the way down to P6 and joined Giovinazzi, who remains in P7. And at the end of lap 1, a replay showing under the safety car, Leclerc is in. Is that for some damage maybe? Let's see as we watch a replay then of this start from the perspective of Lando at the beginning. We will swap over to other on board just to see what's gone on. So it was a very decent start for the McLaren. The AlphaTauri got an even better run with the obviously the slipstream, just a longer way to go. And here's Drogovic being very aggressive on the inside. So Leclerc trying to get me, and Drogovic actually already overtook Lando into turn 2 and then brushed past Leclerc as we obviously defended him, and Russell was just, you know, not even bothered that much. Giovinazzi versus Ocon then versus Lando, and oh my god, what a dive bomb from... I didn't even realise Ocon came from that far back. What an amazing move for Ocon there. Sent not only Giovinazzi, but also Lando Norris, and then Charles Leclerc. So he got 3 positions for 1 dive bomb. That is absolutely sensational. And then this was, quite a dramatic impact, really, considering how slow the kind of whole thing occurred. Hamilton out this Grand Prix there, and the tyre flailing about, and on the left-hand side, look at Norris. He's got a 5-second penalty then for ignoring yellow flags, that must be, under this safety car, and at the moment we we nearly ignored yellows as Russell goes very slow, and we kind of yo-yo about with him and Drogovic there. So Russell playing some games maybe on the restart. The safety car's in. We're doing what's not even allowed anymore in Formula 1. He's getting alongside them, and Russell takes out the bollard at the hairpin. Have we rumbled him? Have we put him under pressure there by just getting alongside him? You can't actually do that anymore in real life Formula 1. You have to stay behind the car, the new rule after what Verstappen's been doing in real life. But we are getting alongside Russell, trying to pressurize him a little bit, and now we've got a great run. We could be into the lead of this race. It's a 1-2 for the team though, don't forget. So it's actually really a great position for the team, but with 3 races to go, I'm not thinking about the team. I'm thinking about myself as an individual, overtaking Russell for the race lead on lap 4. Long way to go, but that's really promising there, the way we're able to get right on the back of Russell. But it's going to continue that way, because just like I did, Russell has a really good chance of overtaking me. No DRS quite yet, but we're going to out-drag him with a bit of ERS usage, but we need to save some also for the end of the lap. Russell is lurking, he's pouncing, and he's gone for it. He's cut the corner at turn 1. We've switched back to him. We've got back into first place. We're nearly banging tyres though, left and right. We're literally just going at each other now in the first 2 turns, but that was a huge dive from Russell as he just went for it so early on in the race. We're putting everything on the line. We're getting so close to making major contact with his barge board area that could have caused some damage to him. Thankfully not, and we've kept it somewhat clean, but you can see the gloves are slowly coming off this season in this championship fight. We lock up on the left hand side. Russell's hit us! He's hit us! We've broken a bit of our floor. The inside, I think that even maybe the side pod part of the car is broken, and Felipe Drogovic leads the Grand Prix. Damage for Russell, is it? On the front wing, we locked up, and well, Russell simply went into us, and now there's a crash behind just before the stadium section. I think that was the other Haas of Max Verstappen, and the safety car's out. Drogovic is in, we come in, and we're following him, but this may be a mistake, because in my panic, I forgot that I can't, you know, change my floor damage or side pod damage, so there was no need to come in. I followed Drogovic also on instinct because I thought, okay, maybe we need to do this under the safety car, but apart from myself, Drogovic and Russell, no one else has come in, so this may have been actually quite a big mistake for myself. I don't know, we've slowed up Russell, so, you know, he's broken his front wing, so a bit of karma there of he's going to take longer to change his wing, and we held him up, but now the safety car being out kind of nullifies that. If it was still green flags, then it would have been a bit more kind of balanced out, but in the end of it, he comes out with a new front wing and fresh tyres under the safety car. I come out with the same, but also a broken side pod, which is going to be permanent for the rest of the race. So here's a replay then, on board from Russell's perspective of what happened then. So ahead of us, we lock up, we're going wide, we still make the corner, and then Russell just comes in and just takes the racing line, not even factoring the fact that I'm, you know, going a bit wide, and, you know, he's going to have to take a tighter line, and in the end of it, he causes himself temporary wing damage. I get permanent side pod damage for simply trying to make the corner still instead of going on the runoff area. And behind, as we ride on board with the Lotus Renault there, Verstappen is out, both Haas cars out, Verstappen and Hamilton as a teammate pairing are out, and both have had very similar clumsy kind of, you know, DNFs there. Verstappen hitting the rear end, he actually boxed in Tsunoda, and somehow Tsunoda did not DNF with him, so Tsunoda actually lives to fight another day. That's actually quite amazing how he somehow recovered from that after literally being boxed in by the wall and Verstappen. And here's a confirmation, Drogovic did not come in for any damage he had, he just came in under the safety car to maybe make a free pit stop, or maybe his tyres were shot, so that still kind of, you know, makes me second guess, should we have come in under the safety car, should we have not? Maybe, I think we'll see long term it was maybe the right decision, because we have technically got a free pit stop, but it's going to take a few odd laps now until the leaders pit for us to really see that benefit. But as it stands then, as a team, this is not ideal. Giovinazzi and Ocon are in 1 and 2, myself in P12, Russell P15, so both, you know, both rivals, even mathematically the outsider, Ocon, is right up there, Gio is up there, that's the more concerning one, and myself and Russell are down here, and now we've got to contend with side pod damage, which I've been told by my engineer will maybe affect the drag of the car more so than maybe the handling, but I am feeling a bit of handling twitch as well as the car goes a bit floaty and light mid-corner, but we're going to also be affected on the straights then. Well, according to Jeff, my engineer, he literally told me, so I would believe it, that we are going to be maybe draggy in a straight line now, which is the opposite of what you need around Mexico then. Drogovic up the road, he made that pit stop with us, he's not got any damage, but he is finding it difficult still the same to get past some cars that are a little bit slower. Lando also came in, I've only just realised there, because he's behind us in P12 as we send one down the inside of both Drogovic and Ilott there. Now, you know, I think that was very opportunistic, you know, caught Drogovic napping a little bit for all he did in the opening laps. That was quite poor from him, being caught up behind Ilott, and we've done well to get up into P9. So, and Schumacher's slow. Schumacher in the Mercedes car is limping around in the second sector, so that's another overtake, so we're up into P8. So as things go, being P8, having already made that first pit stop, really not that bad considering how far or how little down the road Giovinazzi and Ocon are. And well, on the top left you can see now on lap 9 Giovinazzi has overtaken Ocon for the race lead, but we're watching a battle between Drogovic and Lando Norris there as, oh, bit of contact there between the Red Bull McLaren. Is that going to be further damage in misery? Because with simulation damage, that kind of contact could end in a front wing change. Russell with a massive dive in a similar fashion to Ocon there to make the double overtake on Gasly and Ilott. Not quite though, because Gasly re-overtakes him, so Russell struggling in the traffic right now despite having a completely fine car. He's down in P12 and myself with the damage in P8, so we're doing very, very fine, I might add. And actually up the road, like I said, you know, these guys aren't too far away, but you got some peculiar names there. Lundgaard in the top 3, the 2 Lotus Renaults are loving life right now. You got the 2 Williams also right up there, P5 and 6. So we've got a lot of people that have made earlier pit stops or caught up in the chaos from earlier, but with the safety cars. And so you've got a lot of different names in the top 10 basically, but at the forefront is a familiar one of Antonio Giovinazzi, still going on lap 10, taking those tyres a long way as we see maybe the 2 Williams cars fighting a little bit, Guan Yu Zhou and Marcus Armstrong, and we are slowly gaining and seeing more of Carlos Sainz and that whole gaggle of cars as their tyres now must must be screaming. I wouldn't even dream of going to lap 10 normally, in normal circumstances, even on the soft compound. So those guys are really stretching it, trying to give themselves more tyre wear at the end of the race. Meanwhile, we just saw Russell finally get Gasly up into P10, and we're watching a battle now go on between Bottas and Ilott there. Those two are fighting hammer and tong, and Lando Norris has pit. It was a front wing change, so that contact he did make with Drogovic, that was enough to need a front wing change. So that's the real issue with simulation damage. It's not just for me, you've got to remember, it's for the AI as well, and they get caught up in it as well when they make kind of, very human-like mistakes. So Lando Norris from lofty heights of P2 on the grid, all the way down in, well, last place, P19. That is so depressing for him. Meanwhile, Giovinazzi comes in from the lead. Ocon, I think, is going to join. Lundgaard goes on for a further lap. Obviously, Giovinazzi getting the team leader kind of de facto choice there. We swing through onto lap number 11, and we've got a very quick Drogovic coming to knock on the door. We got him earlier whilst he was stuck in traffic, but now the Red Bull's looking mighty fast. We've got the same engine, Porsche versus Porsche, but of course, remember, like I said, the side pod damage is affecting me in a straight line and in the corners, because that was a horrendous turn one, and you can kind of tell mid-corner there is just a bit of floatiness, but the safety car is out for a third time. We've only had 11 laps. We've had more safety car laps than racing laps. 11 laps in, 3 safety cars. Is this going to be another madness in Mexico from season 4, remember, where we've got like, 5 or 6 safety cars? And that's why, the 2 Williams have crashed. That is the last thing you want to do as teammates. That's, well, sort of almost what could have happened with myself and Russell. Thankfully did not, but still, the Williams cars crash, and that's enough to bring out a third safety car for debris. And under the safety car, the rest of the top guys ahead of us did pit. So that is why Drogovic now is in P1, I'm in P2, Russell is in P3. So it's another safety car restart where myself and Russell could be fighting for the race lead again. So could it be this inter-team battle V2 with Drogovic involved as well, maybe? I think it's got to be said, despite everything that's happened in this race, the fact that myself and Russell are still P2 and 3 here now, that everyone's made that first round of pit stops, we've actually done very well. We're somehow still maybe in the fight then for this win. Let's go racing again as we go on to lap 14, and it's all green again, and we're here in a very similar position to the last safety car restart in P2, looking to make the move early on down this very long straight with ERS assistance, and we're going to cut across the racing line to make sure we book in the P1. Drogovic can't do anything. He has to just wait in and watch the rear wing. Meanwhile, the 2 Lotus Renaults have just gone side by side and they made contact. Lundgaard has just crashed into Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi has damage. His front wing is broken on the front right. That is even worse than the Williams calamity. At least they weren't in a championship battle. This is controversial. This is very controversial. You've got Lundgaard, Giovinazzi trying to make an overtake, and he's made it. He's fully passed Lundgaard here, and Lundgaard continues to fight, and he breaks his teammate's front wing, the teammate that is in a championship fight, whilst he is not. It's a different story with myself and Russell. We're both in the fight. We're both in a championship shout, so you can't really play team orders. You can't play nice to a certain extent, but Giovinazzi, he should not be expecting a fight from Lundgaard here. They should definitely be putting all the eggs in his basket, and so instead, Giovinazzi now is left to hobble along on lap 14. This is, painful to watch, really, in the middle sector. And he's holding up everyone. He's holding up Ocon. He's holding up so many cars here, being this slow. So this is going to change the whole makeup of the race. This helps us exponentially, because all these cars now are well outside our pit stop window in terms of if we made a pit stop, we could probably kind of not be in sync with these guys. And it's it's so chaotic. Look how many side-by-sides we've got, and just so many cars bunched up together because of Giovinazzi making that pit stop. So Gio, he's going to be stone dead last, I would assume, right now. Meanwhile, back at the forefront, the complete opposite side of the grid, we're still fighting for first place, trying to defend from Drogovic and our teammate. Russell has a look on the outside. We defend from him and Drogovic as there were 3 wide momentarily with us, and Gasly's ended up in P2. How's that happened? Russell's down to P4. We look at a replay, so I'm not actually sure what happened to Russell there. So he made a dive, bit of contact with us. We're just defending our line, but it was three abreast, and then he just went so slow. Maybe he's got damage himself because he makes some further contact with Drogovic. And I think he's looking a bit sheepish there as Gasly's into P2 and Drogovic P3. Yes, he's in! He's in! Russell's got that. It's all kicking off. Russell's got damage, and he now has to make an extra pit stop. And whilst that's going on, we're still having a fight for P1 then with Gasly now, and he's really sticking it to us. We pinched him into turn 1. He still had the car on the inside. We've somehow drifted our way through the next few corners to remain in P1. The AlphaTauri slots back into P2, and order is resumed. Drogovic P3. Lundgaard now is in a lofty P4 with Esteban Ocon in P5, but he's some way back. And then further, you've got the Mercedes and McLaren of, I believe, Tsunoda, and the safety car is out for a 4th time. This is crazy. 20 laps to go, and we've had 4 safety cars. Are you mad? And we nearly spin the car there on the same place we span it in qualifying. Let's look at a replay then. First of all, of the Russell incident, because this is what happened. He made a dive, and, well, he basically is turning into us. I think that's where maybe he got some damage. He got grazed by the AlphaTauri and then made further contact here with the Red Bull. So I'm not sure which one made his front wing break, but I mean, there's not much I could have done. I don't feel like I caused that. I didn't even know it happened at the time. I'm only looking at the replay cameras. And this is why the safety car's out, because of that debris. That tiny bit of debris, I think, is the reason why they've called out a 4th safety car there. The FI being very, very cautious today, it would seem, in the steward's office with the safety car. And under this 4th safety car, we have come in for our 2nd pit stop. Now, may seem a bit early, but I looked at the strategy screen. You know, it's only lap 20 to 22 that we've been making that 2nd stop. So I thought, you know, 3 laps. What's 3 laps at the end of the race in terms of tyre wear? We should be able to hold that on. So we've made the stop, a free pit stop, under this safety car, and we've come out in P10. And, well, quite weirdly enough, we actually come out right ahead of Giovinazzi and Russell. So what did I say? It was no joke. I don't know what it is. It's just something booky or in the air this season, but myself, Gio, and Russell quite literally can't get enough of each other on circuit. Gasly leads the way then, but all these cars have to make that 2nd pit stop. Ocon's on the soft compound tyre, so Ferrari have gone extra aggressive here with this strategy. So Ocon's not even been on the mediums yet, so all these guys will fall behind us then, in theory, once they make that stop. Tsunoda, by the way, I wanted to point him out. I focused on him for a second there. He's P6 right now. Remember, he was all the way back there in last place or near last place, boxed in by Verstappen. What a turnaround for Tsunoda so far in this race to recover back into a top 6 position, I must say. And the same can't be said for Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz. I mean, I don't know what happened to Sainz, but Lando from P19 to only P14 so far in this race. He is on the hard compound though, so he's going all the way to the end, I think. But it's still going to be a long race for our fellow Brit in the McLaren. But for us, we've got a really good position. Free pit stop. The rest of the cars ahead of us will be making a pit stop. Surely that's going to be us into P1 eventually again. And to be honest, I've only just realised now, with the safety car, we've all bunched up. You know, Giovinazzi and Russell, they're on the same strategy as me. They're going to the end, I think, on the tyre. Well, apart from Giovinazzi, he's on softs. Very weird for Lotus to put him on softs. But myself and Russell could go to the end on medium and hard, respectively. Don't know why Russell's gone on hard, so some very questionable tyre choices. But, you know, we're all bunched up again, and Giovinazzi's made the huge dive. Oh my god, that was only race ending from Gio. What on earth was he doing? The man made a massive dive. He even made a bit of contact with Ilott, and it's enough contact that I think he's slow. I think Giovinazzi made enough contact with Ilott on the rear end that he's locking up. Oh, Giovinazzi, what a disaster for him. He's on the soft compound anyway, so to be honest, he would have had to pit at some point still in this race from where he is right now. But he's going to make the pit stop now because he broke his front wing. Literally on that dive bomb, he cut turn 1 and there was a tiny graze on Ilott and that broke his front wing. As now, we're being attacked by the BMW Sauber. This is all very strange. You can very much tell now as the race goes on that the drag is getting getting worse and worse for me with this side pod damage. Russell is now side by side with us. This could get very, very tasty. We're going to make sure we maintain track position, not having that, not having him push past us, and we push him wide ourselves in the next right-hander to maintain superiority. But for how much longer? Because his car is intact. He's got so much better straight line speed. It's so apparent as we squeeze him towards the grass with ERS. We're having to defend like an absolute animal here. Get the elbows out because it's so difficult to maintain track position, even into the brake zones as well. Mid-corner, our car is not that stable compared to what it was at the start of the Grand Prix. And Russell now has been overtaken by the BMW. And there was, well, it was quite aggressive there from the BMW. I don't want to say it already too soon, but I don't know if Russell maybe just got damaged right there and then with the BMW. He's just been overtaken and actually has failed to re-overtake him. I think legitimately we just saw there him get further damage, Russell. That corner, I don't know what's in the coding or water today, but the AI are having a nightmare today, and Tsunoda spins it down sector 2, and why is he reversing? We've crashed into Yuki Tsunoda. Why was the Japanese driver reversing into us? That was so dangerous. He's got a drive-through, rightly so. Oh my god. What a cucumber, man. This is turning into the messiest Grand Prix we've ever had on this game. And now there's yellows. Oh my god. Is that a fifth? That's a fifth safety car. I'm pretty sure I've counted that right. It's a fifth safety car, but it's because of this. Tsunoda span it in the same place I span it in quali. But unlike me, I had a clean track. Why? Look at this on board. Why was he reversing? Why? You stay still. I feel like in that kind of regard, I know he's trying to get out of the way, but he was reversing into the path of the cars because from my perspective, there was two cars, one T-boning on the inside curb. So I went to the outside and lo and behold, the car's rolling back into me. So it's a front wing change for us. Russell's in as well because Russell got damage. That was damage on Russell on the BMW. So I'm in, Russell's in, and so this has been the worst race in history for myself, Russell, and Giovinazzi. All three of us in this championship fight are way down the order out the points. P14, 15, and 18. And even Ocon is only P10. So all the people who could be fighting for this championship have had an absolute howler today. And somehow, last place P19 man, Lando Norris, finds himself in P2 now under this safety car. And he's going to the end of the race. And he's got a BMW Sauber leads the way. So Lando, from being last place, may just have a great chance of somehow coming through to leading this race now in the last stint. There we go then, the restart for the fifth safety car, and I get a shocking exit because I'm on the hard compounded tyre. And the reason is I've run out of tyres. I don't have any other new tyres. The only new set was this set of this set of a hard tyre. So I didn't want to be on the white walls, but I have to be forced onto them. So, you know, with how the car is anyway, this is going to be a very painful last stint. Meanwhile, like I said, Lando Norris already into P1, then having overtaken the BMW. We are going to make a move on Callum Ilott there. We've still got a good car, somewhat relative to some of these guys around us. Tsunoda ahead of us, the man who took us out in terms of that last collision, right ahead of us then. So that's going to be a bit awkward. Ocon is down to P11, so literally everyone in any kind of mathematical championship chance is actually out of the points right now. What is going on in this race? And Dan Ticktum's going very slow. I think he's got damage, and I think he's slowing everyone. Yeah, look at this. It's nearly 4 abreast there. It's a massive gaggle of cars, and we've caught up now. Despite being on these disgusting hard tyres, we've caught up to Russell, who is on medium, so can we try and get him, you know, he's going to have the better rubber, but surely as the race goes on, maybe there's half a chance his tyres start wearing out more, and then I have a chance. Giovinazzi's also on the hard compounded tyre, it seems, so he's run out of tyres as well, so that's going to be an interesting fight. It looks like Russell versus Gio up the road, because my corner exit off that last corner, with the drag we've got from the damage as well, it's just so bad. Like, those guys just pull away from me if they've got clean air. And there's a bit of a blockade now. I can see Ocon going around the outside, trying to make it 3 wide. Can we have a go at Giovinazzi? Russell is pulling away from us. On the mediums, he's actually got a good chance, but myself and Gio on the hard compounded tyre, not great news. Can we try and at least get Gio just for some pride, basically? But right now, Russell has overtaken everyone. He's overtaken Ocon. Ocon's had a nightmare. He's down to P13. He was P10 on the restart, and Russell's now P11. So he is absolutely loving life right now on those mediums he's on. And, well, he could actually have a chance of getting some points today, Russell, after everything that's happened. So that's not great news for myself and Antonio Giovinazzi, who are being held up now with Ocon by Valtteri Bottas, who I believe, well, it looks like he's got damage, like everyone it would seem like in this Grand Prix gone by. And we've got Giovinazzi, though, into the stadium hairpin. He's still trying to give us a fight. We have to give him some space on the inside there, but ultimately we get up into P14. But Bottas in, it's not going to amount to anything, because those guys ahead of us, they're so much quicker. Although 2 pit stops there, Drogovic is in, and someone else, so we're up into P11. Maybe there's still half a chance we could get 1 point maybe later in the race. So because of that, we are going to still fight Gio as hard as we dare to make sure we stay ahead of him. But it's just such a shocking turn one. The tyres aren't gripping up yet. It's still going to take a few laps for them to rubber in, and we're having a battle, Titanic scrap for the wooden spoon at the moment. P11 between myself and Gio. Russell is into the points, P9. Ocon as well, P10. And, well, Russell's catching up to Leclerc, who maybe is also slow. I don't know if that's tyre wear related or what. And now we're watching Ocon making a move on Russell. What's happened here? What's happened here? Ocon is down the inside and Russell's going slow. Has he got damage? Is there a car issue? We don't know what, but Russell is down to P10. Ocon is up into P9 then. So Ocon is now the leader out of this 4-pack of ours, and Russell's in. Russell is in, and this is why. This was actually whilst myself and Giovinazzi were fighting. That's why we didn't see this live, but this was Russell looking to overtake Leclerc, and that bit of contact right there, that is enough for him to break his front wing on the front right there. It's quite a hefty hit, to be fair, if you think about it in reality, and so he is in. He's made a pit stop. He's actually behind us now in P12, and we'll go further down the order, but he will be on fresh medium or soft tyres. I don't know, whichever the one, or maybe even used tyres now at this point for Russell, as myself and Gio now are banging tyres in what is a sensational but very odd battle for 1 measly point. But Russell pitting now means this is actually a fight for points. And remember, I'm only 1 point behind Giovinazzi in the championship. So as we now fight for P9, because there are further people in for the pit stops, this is actually a genuine fight that we want to get involved in. But our car is just getting slower, and it feels slower and slower every lap. It's just, I don't know if bits are falling off it with the damage we got earlier, but it's like Canada from last season, where it's just not getting any better, and I can't really see any light at the end of the tunnel. We're down to P11 now, as the McLaren of Sonoda got us. The BMW's overtaken us. We're now behind Gio and being attacked by Drogovic. They're all coming at us. All these guys who have ultimated extra pit stops were on soft compound tyre. They're just flying through us, and Gio is using the BMW as a bit of a blockade right now. He is in P10 with 1 point. Can we get that 1 point? There we go, on lap 30, back into P10 maybe. Oh, Giovinazzi gets it all crossed up. He went far too deep into turn 1 there and made a very big AI mistake. And he's actually somehow salvaged P11 and trying to defend against the BMW. But we're now into P10. We've got that 1 point. That would give us maybe the lead of the championship just about. We would be equal on points, myself and Gio. But now Drogovic arrives, and that's where it's game over. The Red Bull, his car's fine for one, and he's on soft tyres. So I don't even put up much of a fight because, well, there's no point to, basically. I'll be actually losing myself too much time in the grand scheme of things fighting, because look how much quicker he is. I don't know what this car, this race has been an absolute nightmare, and it's been the opposite for Lando Norris. It's been a fever dream for him. He was P19, stone dead last at the time on lap, what was it, lap 10, and now 3 laps to go. He's leading this race, and we've got a ding-dong battle between Lundgaard, Stroll, and Guan Yu Zhou. Lundgaard getting down the inside of both of them for P3. That is so funny in a way, you know. Lundgaard, he was the one who made contact with his teammate, remember, took him out the race, kind of, in that stage of the race at least. You know, more stuff's happened since then, but, you know, you've got Giovinazzi being the guy in the championship fight. He's down in P12, and Lundgaard, the man who gave him some damage earlier, is now into a podium position, quite amazingly. Sainz in P2, just doing his own thing, and Lando controlling the race now. And look at Ocon, P6. Ocon, he's actually now in some serious points positions. I don't even know, you know, that was out of nowhere. Ocon's quietly gone about his way, and he's actually now into some really good positions. Schumacher now diving down the inside, but it won't matter for anything, because even if we kept ahead of Schumacher, we'd still be on 0 points. So, you know, I'm trying to fight a little bit, and just for the sake of pride, stay ahead of Giovinazzi and Russell. But at this stage, you know, there's not a lot to come from the race. You've got to be real with ourselves. But, you know, look at this then. Stroll versus Lundgaard. But Ocon might come knocking, you know, as Lance Stroll now looks to spoil the party of Lundgaard, the Canadian, up into P3. But look at Esteban Ocon looking to make a move. Not quite on Guan Yu Zhou yet, but he could get up into a top 5 position. And that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points versus 0 points for myself, Gio, and Russell. Speaking of which, Russell now coming back through on the soft compound. It hurts to let him through, but again, there's just no point putting up much of a fight. He's on softs. You know, even used softs are much better than these hards right now. And my car's just very slow. And we're just kind of, you know, out of spite almost, keeping Giovinazzi behind us. Or just the fact he's on the same compound, the hard compound. But meanwhile, lap 35, the second last lap of this Grand Prix, Ocon is up into 5th place. That is massive for him, but it's even bigger. It's an even bigger day in the office for this man, Lando Norris. McLaren, reigning Constructors' Champions. They've not had a win so far this season. Well, that ends here. Lando Norris wins again in Formula 1 finally, and wins the Mexican Grand Prix, having been in last place at the start of this race. Quite incredible, quite incredible. Sainz second, Stroll third, Ocon P5. That is huge for him. That's 10 points closer to myself, Giovinazzi, and George Russell, all of us are out the points. Russell P12, myself just about holding off Bottas on softs, Giovinazzi in P15. We've had 5 safety cars this race. We've had so much, so much attrition really in terms of people getting damage, and it's been a race, well, to forget for myself, Gio and Russell, but also to remember in terms of, in the season context. What a weird race. What a weird race. None of us score points. Ocon scores some, and we go on to the next.
The thin air here in Mexico City makes this event a brutal one for these Formula 1 cars. But this team have done a fantastic job to make it to the checkered flag and take a well-earned victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Taking care of the car was absolutely vital today. It's been obvious all weekend that the pace was there, but look at the attrition rate we've had. They would have been very concerned about any minor anomaly towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
It is probably one of Lando's most memorable wins in this My Team Career Mode universe. What a win for him today. And McLaren are back on the top step after a long while. The reigning champions, very off-season for them. They'll be happy to maybe recover a little bit, and this could put them in good stead maybe for next season, the final season of this game. Maybe they can make a comeback and use that momentum maybe, because they have been better as of late. Even Tsunoda, he was boxed in with Verstappen. He finished in P9. Those two had equally horrendous races, but they actually just got the rub of the green. A little bit less chaos than myself, Russell, and Antonio Giovinazzi, where things were just chucked at us left, right and centre. Even after the 5th safety car, things were going off and bits were flying off cars. And so we're all out the points. And Ocon, as I said, gets a very good 10 points. And so now he is only 10 points off Antonio Giovinazzi. That's incredible. So, you know, not even mathematically now, even if I was 10 points behind the leader, I would say I'm still in this fight with 2 races to go. So we've actually got to really respect Ocon's driving this season. Dark Horse quietly gone about his business. The win last episode did him a number, and he's now legitimately got himself in this championship fight. And Ferrari are only 47 points behind us in the Constructors. I don't think we'll be losing that. I think myself and Russell are still going to be performing enough to get the Constructors Championship. But, you know, it's got to be said, Ferrari, you know, it's kind of weird because we're not talked about them being a success this season, but they have been. What a recovery from the last 3-4 seasons to be P2 in the championship like this, and Ocon to late on be in this fight, you would say. But it's still, you know, all eyes on myself, Gio and Russell, but maybe that's a good thing for Ocon. But what a crazy race. 2 to go, but that one might have been the most disastrous and just messy Grand Prix we've had all game, basically, since it first came out. If you did enjoy it, though, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.